Hello, Professor and fellow schoolmates. My name is Dylan, and I will be talking about my report, When Work from Home Leads to War at Home. They say that absence makes the heart grow fonder. However, presence can have quite an opposite effect. The world has recently been hit with the outbreak of a coronavirus pandemic, and the excessive spread of this virus prompted governments around the world to impose lockdowns to contain the situation. Many businesses were forced to close down and transition to work from home. This has led to many negative effects on the social, psychological, and economic well-being of individuals. One phenomenon observed after lockdown ceased was a huge influx of divorce cases filed by housewives in many countries. Due to the uncertainty of how this outbreak will play out in the future, countries will have to prepare for potential challenges, such as a second lockdown. Research into this phenomenon in a Singaporean context would be vital in preventing negative outcomes, such as increased divorce rates should such an event occur. This report aims to determine whether longer time spent with a spouse in the same room leads to negative mental health outcomes due to stress. Two factors that serve as important determinants of stress-induced mental health outcomes are family conflict and cohesion. With that said, the hypotheses for this study are as follows. Longer time spent with spouse is positively correlated to family conflict, and longer time spent with spouse is negatively correlated to family cohesion. A sample size of participants consisting of 200 housewives between 28 to 39 years will be selected through stratified random sampling. This study will be conducted in the form of an online questionnaire through administration of the T46 survey software. Participants will be required to fill up an informed consent form followed by several curated questionnaires before going through a debrief email. To measure the degree of relationship between time spent with spouse and perceived change in family conflict and cohesion, a Pearson's correlation coefficient will be utilized. For the first hypothesis of this study, the relationship between longer time spent with spouse and family conflict will be expected to have a correlation coefficient that is both greater than 0.5 and positive. This would indicate that longer time spent with a spouse in the same room is associated with increased perception of family conflict. For the second hypothesis, it is expected that the relationship between longer time spent with spouse and family cohesion would have a correlation coefficient that is also greater than 0.5 but negative. This shows that family cohesion decreases in fact the longer time is spent with a spouse. The expected results are useful in determining ways to assist couples who are in situations where prolonged physical interactions are unavoidable. As couples coexist in the same place, perhaps time should be designated where individuals carry out their own activities without interaction with the other party. This could help to reduce the likelihood of perceived family conflict and minimize unhappiness during stressful circumstances, such as lockdown situations. As for the negative relationship between time spent with a spouse and perceived family cohesion, this could indicate issues pertaining to spousal behavior. Housewives may feel that their spouse does not have aligned thoughts with regards to how tasks around the house are intended to run. This perceived lack of family cohesion negatively affects how housewives handle stress and may lead to increased unhappiness. Individual correlations within items can be analyzed to provide a better understanding of specific issues that arise from the longer duration of time couples spend together in the same room. Although it can be concluded from the study that increased physical interaction between couples may lead to negative outcomes, perhaps the situation merely amplifies existing issues within a relationship. Couples should therefore identify the source of their unhappiness and work through it together to strengthen their bond. With that said, I have concluded my video abstract.